What's happening? Happy Friday night. We got the pick. Number 38, second round of the 2025 NFL Draft. TreVeyon Henderson goes to the Patriots. Let me first talk about the player because I want to be fair to the player. So let me start there. I love the player. Now, there were a lot of good players there on the board for the Patriots, wide receivers, defensive ends. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But TreVeyon Henderson is a player that I love. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. And let me tell you why. He is so fun to watch. He is incredibly fun to watch. He is ridiculously explosive. He's one of my favorite backs in this class, one of my favorite players in this class. So you get a fun player. You get somebody that is going to help Drake May. We started talking about in the preview show tonight, the idea that this weekend was going to be, according to Phil Perry, 3 straight days that felt like Christmas morning to Drake May. Last night, you start with your left tackle and Will Campbell. You come back with an explosive running back who can also pass catch. He is somebody who is certainly going to make Drake May's life much easier when the season begins. So this continues the pattern of the Patriots using their picks in this draft up to this point, their first 2 picks on offense to help support the young quarterback, and I cannot criticize that. The more help for Drake May, the better. The more support for May, the better. So this is an effort to help their young quarterback to develop as quickly and as best as he can. I cannot criticize that whatsoever. Cannot criticize it. I love the approach. I love the overall approach. Offense. This team needs offense. This team needs weapons. Weapons come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes at different positions. You can draft a tight end as a weapon, wide receiver as a weapon, and a running back, certainly a running back like TreVeyon Henderson, is a weapon for your offense. So I love the idea of going offense, back to back, belly to belly to start this draft to help your young quarterback. I'm talking about explosiveness. And that's what TreVeyon Henderson has in spades. 22% of his carries last year resulted in gains of 10 yards or more. That was the 3rd best number in FBS. We're talking about somebody who is explosive. Somebody who can take a 5-yard gain and turn it into a 15, 20-yard gain. Somebody who can turn the corner, get down the sideline, and take it to the house in a blink of an eye. You want to talk about somebody who is incredibly explosive and exciting? That's TreVeyon Henderson. There are comparisons to guys like Jahmyr Gibbs. If you watch Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit and you love Jahmyr Gibbs in his game, you're going to love TreVeyon Henderson because there are a lot of similarities with Henderson and Gibbs's games. So a very fun player, a very exciting player. He's a home run hitter. He's an absolute home run hitter. He's somebody who, again, in the run game, in the passing game, he can turn your offense around with one play. And the Patriots don't have many of those guys. How many guys on this roster can single-handedly turn the game around with one play? We've been talking about Marcus Jones the last 2 years, watching Marcus Jones get a handful of snaps on the offense. And everybody gets excited about Marcus Jones and his ability to maybe break something. The explosiveness, the athleticism, the speed, and a glitching name or gnome brings it up and says he's a true playmaker. And that's what we're talking about. A true bona fide playmaker. Patriots don't have those on offense. Hunter Henry's a nice player. Austin Hooper is a decent player, a good backup tight end. Ramondre Stevenson is a good running back. Antonio Gibson is a good running back. The wide receivers, do you have a playmaker in your wide receiver room? Stephon Diggs coming off ACL surgery. We'll see how he adapts and how his game changes. So this is a guy who makes plays, big plays, chunk plays, explosive plays, and can help change the game in a split second. Not only running the football, but also catching the football. He's a good receiver. He's a 3-down back. He's good in pass protection. Here are some of the strengths that Dane Brugler hits in his write-up at The Athletic in The Beast. Instant acceleration to fly through holes or outrace pursuit on outside zone runs. Wiggle to plant, bounce laterally, throw off pursuit with quick lane shifts. He has a killer spin move. Again, 22% of his carries last year at Ohio State resulted in gains of 10 yards or more. We talk about fumbling. We talk about the problem that Stevenson had fumbling the football last year. He had, 7 fumbles last season. TreVeyon Henderson fumbled only twice in 4 years. Dependability. You can depend on him. You can depend on him running the football. You can depend on him in the passing game. You can depend on him in pass protection. You can depend on him taking care of the football, so ball security. He is a highly dependable running back. A highly dependable running back. He can attack linebackers. He can eat up linebackers for lunch in space. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for defenses. He's going to be a guy that defenses say, what do we have to do to slow him down? We can't allow TreVeyon Henderson to break our back with a 75-yard take it to the house kind of play. So this is somebody, and you look at this running back class, and I don't think this should be overlooked. You look at this running back class, one of the biggest issues with this running back class is that they're not really good at pass protection. They're just not. They're not very good in pass pro. And so it's tough to get a guy on the field, 3 downs, if you want him to be a 3-down back eventually. It's tough to get the guy on the field on 3rd down if he can't protect your quarterback. If he can't go out there and pass protect. So TreVeyon Henderson, as Dane Brugler writes it, he consistently puts defenders on their backsides. He's a powerful blocking back. So he's a 3-down back because of his ability to run, catch, and block. And he's an explosive player, something that you don't have within this offense. Here was Pro Football Focus's write-up on TreVeyon Henderson. Henderson, when playing confidently, shines with his agility and long speed. He lacks some size for tackle breaking and pass blocking, but he remains a high-effort player in those areas. Again, he's not the biggest dude, but he pass blocks. Seems like a good speed component of an NFL committee, including for receiving work out of the backfield. So, fun player, one of my favorite running backs in the draft. Support/help for Drake May, your young quarterback. More help for him, which I love. Incredibly explosive, an element that's missing in this offense. Home run hitter, again, missing from this offense. He's a perfect fit for Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is going to be able to utilize TreVeyon Henderson in so many different ways. I think he's going to move him around on the line of scrimmage. He's going to mess around and make sure that he gets matched up with linebackers. He's going to take advantage of Henderson's home run ability and set him up nicely for some screen passes that he can take to the house. This is a toy for Josh McDaniels. This is a toy for Drake May. This is a fun weapon to have as part of your offense. Perfect fit for McDaniels. And if you look at the old, thunder and lightning combination in the backfield, I think the Patriots have it. Ramondre Stevenson is the thunder. Ramondre Stevenson is the thumper. He's the guy that's going to get downhill and he's going to run through you. So you have the thunder element in Dre. Dre is going to be very difficult to bring down. He's going to be difficult physically on the defense, especially when you talk about, cornerbacks and safeties trying to come down and make plays. Ramondre is going to be that blunt instrument. Henderson is going to be the lightning. So you've got the thunder and lightning combo. The other thing I'd say is that Henderson has great character. He has incredible character. So again, we talk about certain guys and whether or not they're going to be culture fits. Dane Brugler writes about TreVeyon Henderson, credits Faith for his maturation, motivated by his mother. TreVeyon Henderson used his NIL money to help his mom retire. He's known as a great teammate. He's known as a great culture fit. And he has loads of character. So you talk about checking the boxes for Mike Vrabel. Henderson checks the boxes. He is a leader. He is a leader in the room to go along with Will Campbell. The attitude of this team, it has completely changed in the past month and a half via free agency and the draft. The attitude of this team, the character of this team, the personality of this team has just continued to change and morph into what Mike Vrabel wants. And I would say you can't overlook the Ohio State connection here. Cam Williams, Vrabel, Stretch, all three of those guys are Ohio State alums. And that means they have incredible intel. They have incredible intel on the player. So Henderson, again, I love the player. I love the player. I love what he brings to this team. He brings a dynamic element to the offense. Now, it's not like he's perfect, folks. It's not like he's perfect. And I'm going to get into some of the warts, and I'm going to get into my biggest criticism of this pick. It's not going to be all sunshine and roses here. But I wanted to start with the positive because I love the player, and I think he's going to absolutely unequivocally help this offense. He's going to absolutely help your young quarterback, and he brings a different element to this offense that they did not have until they picked him tonight. So, unselfish, character guy. He was a team captain at Ohio State last year. So all of those things are great things for the Patriots and how TreVeyon Henderson can help this football team. Now I'm going to get to some of the other stuff, including my biggest criticism. But let me take a moment. Don't forget to help us out. If you're watching us live for the first time, if you're a regular, you know the deal. Don't forget to click that thumbs up as you watch the live stream on this YouTube channel. More thumbs up means more eyeballs. We take advantage of that algorithm. So don't forget, by the way, the Texans just drafted Ariante Ursary at number 58. So some people thought that, he might be going at the top of the second round, maybe late first round. He goes 58th, so about the middle of the second round. Will Johnson, drafted by the Cardinals. The Texans, by the way, they traded, trying to figure this out. Was it Ursary who got, it says the Texans drafted him. Okay, yeah, the Raiders traded with the Texans. All right, so Ariante Ursary goes to Houston with pick 58. But don't forget to click that thumbs up as you watch. That helps us with the algorithm. Don't forget to throw your comment in. How do you feel about TreVeyon Henderson? How do you feel about him being the pick at 38? Are you in favor of this pick? Do you love the pick? Do you hate the pick? Do you like the pick? How do you feel about TreVeyon Henderson going in the second round of the Patriots? And this is not a reach. Some thought he'd be drafted late in the first round. Many people thought he would be at the top of the second round after he wasn't drafted last night. This is not a reach. This is not a reach when you look at, a lot of the consensus boards and the mocks and all of that. So Will Campbell, right around where he was expected to go. TreVeyon Henderson, right around where he was expected to go. So let me know how you feel about the pick. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to hit 7,000 subscribers before we get to mandatory minicamp. We hit our goal last night of 6,600. I thank all of you. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, to this YouTube channel. We want to get to 7,000 subscribers by mandatory minicamp, which is June 9th. That's the target date. So like, comment, subscribe, listening on Spotify, listening on Apple Pods. Don't forget to rate and review. Coop jumps in, says, Henderson, going to be a stud. Looks like a top 15 talent. James loves the pick. Roscoe, 34, likes the pick. Evelyn loves it. Evelyn loves the pick. Let's see. Deadfish, love the pick. Definitely the time to pick him. Great pick. This new management is doing a great job. So far, most people at least like the pick, if not love the pick. TreVeyon Henderson, how do you feel about the pick? All right. Let me get to some of the other stuff. Let me get to some of the weaknesses. Let me get to my biggest criticism. Let me lead with the biggest criticism. Drafting a running back at 38 is not what I would have done. Love the player. I would not have drafted a running back at 38. Looking at this roster, number one, looking at this roster, this feels to me like a luxury pick when you have other needs. Interior offensive line, wide receiver, defensive end. You had Jalen Knoll on the board. You had, a number of guys on the board that could have helped you. You had Luther Burden on the board. So with some of these other positions in similar talents at this point, I would not have picked a running back at 38. I do not love the idea of drafting a running back at the top of the second round when there was players that are ranked highly, talented guys at positions of need for you that I think is more of a need than a running back. Like I would have been fine with Stevenson, Gibson, and picking a back later on in this draft. I would have been fine with picking a back in the fourth round. I would have even been fine with picking a back at 69 or 77. But using a top 50 pick on a running back, to me, with this roster, this situation, I don't love it. Again, it's tough for me to evaluate this pick because I love the player, but I don't love where they drafted him. You've got Stevenson, you've got Gibson. Is one of those guys now expendable? Is one of those guys out the door? I don't think Stevenson's going to be out the door because Stevenson signed his contract extension last offseason. So I don't think Stevenson is going to be going anywhere. Does that mean Antonio Gibson is the odd man out? I thought Gibson played better than Stevenson did last year. And I thought, when you look at it, Gibson was underutilized last season. And I think McDaniels could get more out of Antonio Gibson. Much more out of Antonio Gibson than Alex Van Pelt did. So this is not looking at TreVeyon Henderson and criticizing the player because I love the player. And I think he adds elements to this offense that are going to absolutely help this offense. But what is the difference between, TreVeyon Henderson and the two backs that you had in the room already versus a wide receiver or a defensive end that you might have been able to draft here and had the opportunity to bring in that would have, stacked up against the other guys in those position rooms? So I just don't love using a top 50 pick on a running back. I don't love it. And I especially don't love it in this draft because the running back position is so deep. There are a bunch of guys. We've gone through the list of names. We've gone through the many names at running back that are available in this draft. I mean, there's just a bunch of dudes in this class. Dylan Sampson, Tennessee, Jordan James, RJ Harvey, Trevor Etienne. I mean, you just got a bunch of guys in this draft at this position that could be really, really good running backs at the NFL level. And so when you look at the depth of the running back class, to use a top 50 pick on TreVeyon Henderson, you've got to love him. And I love the player, but the Patriots have to be deeply in love with TreVeyon Henderson to draft him 38th. Given the depth of the position in this draft, the fact that you have two bona fide, at least good running backs in Stevenson and Gibson, you have to love Henderson. You have to believe that Henderson is special. You have to believe that the elements that he brings to this offense are truly special and so above and beyond what maybe another running back could have gotten you later on in this draft. So it's obvious to me that Josh McDaniels, Mike Vrabel and company must absolutely freaking love TreVeyon Henderson to pick him here. Now, I will say this. We don't know how the rest of this draft is going to unfold. We don't know if there is going to be a trade. We don't know who is going to end up falling to the Patriots at 69 or 77. We don't know that, if some of the receivers that we've been talking about, if those guys fall to 69 or 77, then this pick makes more sense. And this is when we get into evaluating a draft during the draft, when you really have no idea how things are going to unfold. People in the NFL understand the value of these players a hell of a lot better than we understand it. People behind closed doors in the NFL, they understand when TreVeyon Henderson is likely going to go. They understand when Jaden Higgins is likely going to go. So if Jalen Noel, falls and the Patriots end up drafting Jalen Noel at 69, or they make a move up a few spots and they draft him, and you end up with Jalen Noel and TreVeyon Henderson, I don't think anybody would be bothered by that, including myself. Kyle Williams is another name at wide receiver. So we've got to see how the rest of this draft unfolds. How does the rest of this night look? Elijah Arroyo goes to the Seahawks with the 50th pick in the draft. So both tight ends that I mentioned earlier tonight, other than Terrence Ferguson, Arroyo and Mason Taylor are both off the board. So is there a trade that's going to happen before we get to 69? The Patriots get aggressive, they move up, and they get a receiver. Is a receiver going to fall to them that makes this Henderson pick a little bit more palatable? And we say, hey, yeah, Henderson, I didn't love Henderson at 38, but damn, they got that guy at 69. They got that guy at 77. And when you look at it from 30,000 feet, if the four picks all kind of make sense, then I don't think any of us are going to be angry about that. So we've got to see how the rest of this draft falls and who the Patriots end up getting with their next couple of picks. So I love the player. I think he's going to make this team more fun to watch. I think he makes this offense much more dangerous than it was. And I love supporting Drake May. I just don't love picking him at 38. And we'll see how this unfolds, what happens the rest of the night. Nick Scorton, by the way, goes to the Panthers at 51, so another defensive end. So we'll see. We'll see what wide receivers are there at 69. We'll see if they move up to grab a wide receiver. Because we could sit here and guess all night. I would not have guessed that Donovan Ezaraku was going to end up getting drafted where he got drafted. I would not have guessed that Will Johnson was going to slide to 47. So we don't know. I mean, Mike Green is still on the board. He's a top 15 player. So obviously the red flags are playing a big role in that. The safety's name that I can't pronounce that went to Seattle in the trade in the early second round, people said he might go top 20. So none of us know until these guys actually get drafted. So let's see how the rest of the draft unfolds. And depending on how that goes, then I would feel better about TreVeyon Henderson being a top 50 pick if at the end of the night we're looking at this and saying, okay, well, they got some good talent. If they got like Femi Oladejo and Jalen Noel, for example, and you walk away from the first 2 days of the draft with Will Campbell, TreVeyon Henderson, Femi Oladejo, and Jalen Noel, then you look at the totality of it and you say, that's a good first couple of days for this team. So we'll see how the rest unfolds. Unless something huge happens, I will be back on Monday with a live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Help out the channel. Help us out. I'm going to go have a couple of beers, watch the rest of the draft. Everybody, I wish you well. I love the player. Don't love top 50 pick, but I love the player, and I will be excited to see Henderson play football this fall because I think he helps this team. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.